Jonathan is often quoted as the only Joestar who never got a stand, but I'm here to tell you that just simply wasn't the case. Jonathan does have a stand, and we see it actually in part 3. Now, a lot of people may push back against me on that immediately and say, well, in order to have a stand, the body needs to be alive or the spirit needs to be there. But what y'all don't realize is that his spirit slash body was still fighting Dio's spirit and body throughout all of part 3. That's a part of the reason Dio craved Joestar blood so much, so he could become a full-blooded vampire and be able to use his stand at its full range. Now, as you can probably see the image up here, this stand has been named multiple things, but we don't have a canonical name for it. Some people just call it another variation of Hermit Purple, which it essentially is, and other people call it the Passion, which it was named that, and I think the George Joestar novel. Now, as I was saying earlier, it's essentially a ripoff of Hermit Purple, but it doesn't limit itself to having to break something in order for it to see a vision, as its abilities include divination. Similar to Hermit Purple, this stand ability can read the minds of others and display the resulting images via other objects, including cameras, noticeably not destroyed unlike Joseph's usage, TV sets, and crystal balls. Dio uses this ability to track the Joestar's group current location to send stand users after them. Dio can also use his power to detect and interrupt Hermit Purple's own psychic divination, at one point destroying the TV set Joseph is using by transmitting an overwhelming amount of energy into it. Now, Dio gets to use this. He is the only person who canonically has two stands, I'm pretty sure, that they can use and wield at the same time. It even says down here, along with his own stand, the world, it is stated in JoJo Agogo that this stand is awakened within Jonathan Joestar's body when it is struck by the bow and arrow, allowing Dio to manipulate it along with its host body. And although I don't blame you if you don't necessarily remember this stand, because again, it does technically only show up 3 times in the anime, 3 times in the manga, 3 chapters with very limited appearances, and you only see it through weird things like a crystal ball or Dio popping out of the TV, and you're wondering how the fuck is he doing that? But that's how the fuck he did it, which also got to make you think psychological warfare was actually insane. Dio was playing with a different level of torture, as Joseph, he knew that his grandfather's body was still somewhat connected to him and alive. But I bet you after Dio popped out of the TV, he was like, oh, this son of a bitch. But this also made me think for a second, because if you're someone like me, you've read most of the light novels, you know that Lisa also has a very similar stand to Hermit Purple and to the one that Jonathan has, which makes me question, did the earlier Joestar family just have this crazy ass generational stand? And genuinely, don't we see Hermit Purple in the next universe? Why doesn't Johnny have a variation of Hermit Purple? Now, even though I know the answer to that is most people didn't want to see Johnny Joestar with a variation of Hermit Purple, I just think it's very interesting to think about, just simply due to the fact that Jonathan and Joseph share a basically similar stand, except Jonathan's stand compared to Hermit Purple, at least what we've seen, isn't that bad, only because he doesn't have to break anything to see the future. He can just see it. He can just see through a TV set or a crystal ball or whatever the case is. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You know, we're on the road to 5K, so anything helps. And until next time, peace.